Welcome to the first episode of the cold front this year.
Today we will talk about the tropics, particularly tropical storms and hurricanes.
With Tropical Storm Matthew looming over the Atlantic, it seemed like a good time to get tropical.
We have that and more, but first, you're watching the cold front on VUTV Channel 15. Welcome back.
And I'm Adam Sherwinski.
And I'm Jake Van Horn. This year, the cold front will be a bit different from previous years, and you'll see that starting with today's show.
That's right. From now on, we're going to talk about the national weather and highlight an event taking place and talk about that topic.
Today seemed to work out well with what we are trying to do, since we have some storm activity down in the Caribbean to talk about.
But before we get right into that, Jake, we have a new member this year. Now, before we get into all that, let's go and get to our newest member, Jake. So, Jake, tell us about yourself. You're new to the cold front. There's not much. You're pretty young. You haven't been around here that often. So, tell us a little about yourself, bud.
So I guess first off, I'd like to say I'm really excited to be here as the assistant weather director. It's a new and exciting position here at VUTV, so I'm real happy to do that. So I'm a meteorology major here at Valparaiso University, and I'm from Fort Wayne, outside of Fort Wayne, Indiana. Over the summer, I had the opportunity to intern at News Channel 15, the CBS affiliate in Fort Wayne, and that was a blast. Learned a lot over the summer, and I'm looking forward to taking some of what I learned over the summer and applying it here at Valpo. So I know you also had an internship this summer. Let's hear about that.
I
Mr.
did.
Sherwinski.
I was with our former assistant weather director years and years ago, back when VUTV first started out, Jack Gerfen, and he's a really great guy. He's a great mentor. I mean, I couldn't say enough about him. He's just a great guy. He really helped me this year focus on what I needed to work on in terms of being on-air talent. So, I mean, it was great to be with him, but less about me. Let's go back to you a little bit more, because you're the newest member for the most part. And I want to know more about you, because you've got little airtime. I mean, you've done a few weather updates, but tell us more about Jake. Like, what personality-wise sets you off different than other people?
So I guess the biggest thing, especially, we've talked about the cold front, what I want to do.
Yes, you want to make huge changes.
The biggest thing is I love to have fun.
Yes, you do.
Like,
yes, you do.
the science is,
yeah, he does.
It's fun to talk about the science, but at the end of the day, you have to have some fun too. That's why we're doing this. If we weren't having fun, then this would be a terrible job, really. But no, I mean, the biggest part now is finding ways to have fun, whether that's games or just talking about whatever we want to talk about and letting loose, having some fun.
You're also a big country music fan. I know you went to a concert a couple weeks ago. Want to
Yeah.
elaborate on that? Talk about that? You're a big country music fan?
So I went to Wrigley Field a couple of weeks ago. It's beautiful weather, and saw Luke Bryan in concert. And this summer I went to another concert as well in Fort Wayne, Country Fest. It was an absolute blast.
And you had fun? You brought some classmates along too as well, didn't you?
Yeah, when I went up to Wrigley, took a couple of friends. Actually, one was a meteorology major, so we hang out outside of classes. We get along pretty well in the meteorology department. Yep,
Mr. Country Jake. We're both Hoosiers. I just noticed that. So
yeah,
that's the best thing about this. Both
Welcome
Hoosiers.
to the Cold Front, hosted by Hoosiers.
Hoosiers, yeah. So it's awesome. It's really great to have you here, Jake. I'm glad to have you as assistant weather director. You've been doing a good job. I mean, as young as you are, doing this as a sophomore, I mean, juggling 216 and physics and all the crazy stuff you have to do as a young sophomore meteorology major. I just find it insane that you still have time here to do stuff here. And it's good to have you here, Jake. And it's just good to have you here. So thank you for being here on the show. It's just nice to have you here. So much energy, so much youth coming in here, and it's good to have you here. Like when we come back, we will dive into the tropics, but also take a look at a new organization on campus that's setting its sights on keeping the community safe from natural disasters.
Good morning, Valparaiso University. What's a better way to start your day than with a new jam? And WVUR has just what you need.
But if you close your eyes, does it almost feel like nothing changed at all? And if you close your eyes, does it...
If dying young won't change your mind, baby, right.
Broadcasting sports, news, weather, and music on air, online, and on campus. WVUR is my jam.
Thanks for tuning back in.
Now it's time to throw on some sandals and head south as we talk about the tropics.
That's a big thing to talk about too, Jake. I mean, I know you're going over to the weather wall to check out and show some cool graphics that he had the other night, and it's pretty interesting to see that what he's going to have on there. So yeah, it's going to be really cool. He's got a lot to talk about, a lot of camera stuff to talk about. He's going to be on camera 4 for the most part, which is our green screen wall. He's got plenty of graphics to show you. He learned a lot going on with this tropical system and just tropics in general. So go ahead, take it away, Jake.
Well, thank you, Adam. So if you guys haven't noticed, we have some tropical system to talk about in the Caribbean. You can see it's just north of South America, Tropical Storm Matthew, that is, and it's been making its way to the west and heading really between Puerto Rico and South America right now. As you can see, the winds are sustained right now at 70 miles per hour, and it's moving to the west at 15 miles per hour. It has a central sea level pressure of 996 millibars, and that is expected to drop over the next couple of days. Now, one of the cool things that the National Hurricane Center actually does is they send reconnaissance planes into these storms to get these measurements, such as wind, the movement, and the pressure, as well as the location. And you can see that track on here on WSI, and they fly about and get those measurements. Now, the question, first off, the National Hurricane Center is in charge of the tropical storm warnings and watches, as well as any hurricane warnings and watches. Since it is a tropical storm, they only have issued those warnings and watches so far. They have allowed the warning to expire for these islands in here, but expect some more warnings and watches to be issued as the storm continues on and it strengthens. Now, the forecasted path, that's the big question. Where is this system going to go next? And on here we have our spaghetti plots, which takes all the models and kind of takes their path and tells us where to go, so we can get a pretty good idea of where the system is headed next. So as you can see, it's going to meander on over to the west just a little bit before taking a northern stride. Looks like it's going to cross over the eastern side of Cuba right now, and then the extended forecast has it moving up the east coast of the United States, so it's definitely something to watch out for. Now, the biggest question, how do these hurricanes form? How do these tropical storm systems form as well? So as you can see behind me, so there's unstable air over the ocean, and that allows the air to rise. This vertical motion is known as convection, and these clouds begin to form, and thunderstorms begin to form as well. So then as these storm systems continue to move on, you can see we don't want a lot of wind shear, that is high wind speeds and change in direction as we go up into the atmosphere. Shear literally tears these storms apart. Another crucial aspect is the ocean temperatures. They must be over 80 degrees to supply the energy to sustain these storms. So as these storm systems begin to grow, you can see, so the first step is becoming a tropical depression, which is no more than just organized clouds and thunderstorms. There's weak circulation and winds are less than 38 miles per hour. So then after this, we have a tropical storm, which is what we have now, organized strong thunderstorms and circulation with winds between 39 and 73 miles per hour. Then after the tropical storm comes the most well-known system, the hurricane, with strong circulation and winds 74 miles per hour or above. So this system, Matthew, is expected to grow into a Category 2 hurricane, and that will have winds between 96 and 110 miles per hour as it approaches Cuba. Category 3 is up to 129 miles per hour. And as you can see, the Category 4 and Category 5 is just extensive damage. And so going back to the ocean temperatures, this is current ocean temperatures, which is crucial to allowing this storm to grow. Temperatures across the Caribbean are between the mid 80s and upper 90s, so we definitely have the temperatures to allow this system to grow. And as we look at wind shear as well, there's not much wind shear, so just even more fuel for this storm to continue on to grow as it heads towards Cuba. Now we're going to look at forecasted wave height. As these storm systems grow, they really begin to turn up the water and increase the wave heights across the southern Caribbean, and you can see that with this model as well. Now we have future radar. This is the extended track. As you can see, we have strengthening up to a Category 2 just off the southern coast of Cuba before it kind of gets its circulation cut off and goes back down to a Category 1 just to the north of Cuba. We can see on our future radar, this circulation begins to tighten up as it continues on westward, and we'll have to wait and see what this has an impact on the East Coast. Adam, what do you think? Is it going to be a big deal on the East Coast, or?
I honestly, Jake, I don't know. I mean, I've taken tropical before, and that's one of the classes I take for meteorology. And I got to say, like, this storm is interesting to look at because it's late enough in the season, or it's early enough in the season that it's okay. But for the most part, I mean, it's an interesting storm to watch. It's something to talk about for sure, and we're just definitely going to have to watch and see what's going on. I know Tom Skilling last night was talking about it last night in his broadcast for a little while because it is significant role and it will do significant damage over the next few days. So it's definitely something to keep an eye out on, and it's definitely something to keep an ear out for as well. Looking at future models, I mean, it goes almost anywhere once it hits past Puerto Rico and Dominican Republic. But yeah, it's something really interesting. I'm glad you brought it up, Jake. It's something really good to talk about. So thank you, Jake, so much for those graphics. It was really well done.
You're very welcome.
Now, when we come back, we will discuss more about the tropics, including what is the difference between a tropical storm and a hurricane, and to see what those storms form. Also, a quick look at a new organization right here on campus, ready to help if and when disaster strikes.
It is something you won't want to miss.
Valparaiso University, where passion meets purpose.
Welcome back to the cold front.
Now, fortunately for us here in Valpo, we don't see many big disasters like hurricanes, but if some kind of natural disaster were to happen, a new group on campus is ready to take action. The Valparaiso University Emergency Management Organization, or VEMO for short, is in its first year of operation and is preparing to help officials when disaster comes to town.
With a quick interview with Incident Commander Cameron Nixon, who wanted to talk a little bit about what their group is about and who can get involved.
What we really wanted to do was create an organization with a wide variety of different majors and minors involved with us. And so far, we're kind of just a group of meteorology majors who had a dream to start this because we don't have a emergency management course in Valpo. Anyone can get involved in this organization, and immediately. We really want a diverse group of people right now. Yeah, I mean, any student should really care that we exist as a club because we're really out there to help campus. Like we're focused on bettering ourselves and bettering ourselves to be able to be prepared in emergency situations.
And it's a good thing we have this on campus, this group, because I've talked to Cameron multiple times, even before we had that interview, and he's very driven on making sure that the emergency management program can grow, and then maybe eventually, like here at VUTV, we might get a show as well, our own program as well to back us up, and maybe they'll get an emergency management program to back us up as well. I mean, they just want to see if this will spark something within the community and make a bigger difference overall on campus. We don't have any emergency management classes here on campus, as Cameron said before, but it's good to see that he's taking initiative and the whole group is taking initiative as well. Very impressive with what they've done so far. They've gathered a lot of people from a bunch of different backgrounds, mostly meteorology majors, as he said before, but really it's just interesting to see that he's really trying his best to just make people come together so they can work on making emergency management more accessible here, because we are storm ready as from the National Weather Service, but we still don't really have a plan, at least for students, to connect and kind of get from point A to point B on what they should know and what they shouldn't know when it comes to disasters. I think it's really impressive what they've done here, and I'm really looking forward to see how they grow. Before we said we don't get hurricanes here, so FEMA wouldn't be involved if anything were to happen here, but we obviously could get tornadoes, massive ice damage, massive winds. I mean, we could get a lot of other things, earthquakes even. But for the most part, I mean, this group is just here to get themselves ready for the next step. So when they do go down to the Gulf Coast, if something were to happen, if they do go to the East Coast, in case there's another hurricane like Sandy, they're trying to get people ready for not only working here, but if that's their career path, that they want to do emergency management, that it gets them ready for the future as well. So I think it's really interesting to see this group. I want to see what they can do. They've already collected a lot of groups of different people, and I'm just thoroughly impressed of how well they've been doing so far into the semester. And I'm just really excited to see them. What do you think, Jake? Do you think anything?
So you went nationally with them, but really locally, the way I saw it was there was a need in the local community, and they wanted to fill that void. And so, I mean, really, the biggest issue that I've always seen is whenever there's a storm approaching, whether it be severe or not, the police department is sending out alerts that take cover, there's a strong storm coming. Well, what does that mean? Does it mean a little bit of lightning, or is that a tornado? With them, you don't really ever know, and that was, I think, part of the reason as well that they wanted to get involved. I know that they've talked to VUPD, and they're trying to get them on board to kind of take over the alert system to let students across campus know what's happening and how severe it really is.
And I like how you mentioned VUPD, because Chuck Garber, the police chief at Valparaiso University Police Department, that is their advisor, which I think is a smart move on their part, because you have actually some emergency management background already as your advisor, which I think is just spectacular. And they've already taken some really smart, calculated steps to help themselves grow and become better. And I don't know, it's just, this group is impressing me so far. It's small, and they still have a lot to work on, and they understand that. I talked to Cameron later after the interview, and he's like, there's just so much we still need to do. And he's right, there's still a lot they need to do. They're a small organization. I don't know if they have what they have student senate-wise. I think they're still recognized, but I don't know what kind of funding they have. But he's working on his best to set the ground floor to make it so they can raise and just be able to help when the call is called, to call for duty. I mean, these guys are all driven too. I've met many of them. Most of them are our classmates anyway, and they really want to see what this can do. I mean, years ago, I was on one of the meetings for the first VMO. We even talked about throwing the name around, VMO, like just random names, VUPDE, something like that. I don't remember what we called them. But I sat in on some of those meetings, and those seniors were like, okay, we can't do it because we're leaving. You sophomore or you juniors step up and do it. And they did. They started the spark next year, and then now Cameron is just driving it, and he wants to take it home. He wants to make it better. I'm just really impressed with this group. I know I keep saying that over and over again. I'm really impressed with this group, but I am, because they're doing something that's important to the community. It's important to everyone around us. It's important to students. It's important to staff, faculty, because he's trying to bridge the gap between knowing and not knowing what's going on between all aspects of the community. I mean, don't you think that's pretty cool?
Now, the interesting thing is, when most people think about meteorology here at Valparaiso University, they think about either broadcast or operational. So this is really opening a whole new branch to where meteorologists could go with their careers.
Yeah, it's really impressive as well. I mean, I don't know what else you can say about this, but just how impressive this is. I mean, when we come back after a short commercial break, I'll give a look at the full forecast for the rest of the week and even a peek into the weekend.
Stick with us on Channel 15 to get the details.
Good morning, Valparaiso University. What's a better way to start your day than with a new jam? And WVUR has just what you need.
But if you close your eyes, does it almost feel like nothing changed at all? And if you close your eyes,
Welcome back to the cold front. We're going to head over to the weather wall right now with Adam and your local forecast.
Thanks, Jake. Now, we have a low pressure system sitting over the United States. That's this big swirly ball right here, just kind of sitting across the west of the U.S. Look at the rest of the U.S., pretty clear, pretty nice, except for out towards the west in Arizona and Utah. Overall, though, this is what's bringing us our showers. Looking at radar right now, you're going to see we have that band right across here. You can see it's kind of like bringing us showers and storms. For the most part, overall, just bringing us cloudy skies for most of northwest Indiana and the Chicagoland region. But there were a few water spouts reported with this yesterday, 12 to be precise, by the National Weather Service. A lot of them reported out by Chicagoland area right before they got close to the area. But you can see we have that spinning. It's coming off the lake, east off the lake, and it's kind of making this swirly ball of just rain and a big mess for those of us just sitting here in the low pressure system. Now, for today here in Valpo, currently, 59 degrees, northeast winds at 6 miles per hour. That's from that low pressure system, northeast winds. Usually we have west winds, but for today, we're going to have that. You need to understand for today is that we're going to have maybe a few more water spouts. We had a few yesterday for sure, and that was pretty interesting to see. We don't usually see water spouts here in northwest Indiana. Another chance of rain into the weekend. This thing's going to last for quite some time, and we're going to have a cool weekend. This low pressure system just sits here. Looking at our future temperatures, you're going to see we just kind of sit in the 60s and 50s for the rest of the week, even into the weekend. Look at that. Not getting much warmer or cooler. Low starts to move a little bit. We might cool off just a little bit here or there. But for the most part, 7 a.m. on Sunday, as you're waking up early. I know you wake up on earlies on Sundays. 59 degrees in Valpo, 60 all the way out in Chicago, 58 in LaPorte. Our warm spots are actually closer to the lake, with 58 being in LaPorte, 60 in Chicago and Gary. So where you're going to be closer to the lake, that's where it's going to be warmer because of the warm temperatures caused by Lake Michigan. All right, future radar here. We're just kind of spinning, and we're just getting rain and showers from this. That's all we're getting. Showers, maybe a few rumbles of thunder. I was driving out yesterday, and you could hear a few few bolts here and there. But overall, this system is just going to sit in place, and that's what's going to really be a key factor in our weekend because it's just going to cause for rain here all over the place. More future radar, again, you can see this is another model. It just keeps sitting and spinning. And that's all it's going to do. Sit and spin, and do nothing really else for us here. Now, over the next few hours, this is a wrong model, by the way. It must have popped up in a bad time spot here. But doomsday forecast is a day I would definitely not want to go out there for. It's going to be don't want to go this weekend unless you're looking for water spouts. That would be the only reason why to go out to the dunes at all. But I wouldn't take your towel, I wouldn't take your swimming trunks because the lake's starting to cool off and it's only good for hiking. If you just want to hike the dunes, today would be a good day to go do it. A little bit cooler, but watch out for that rain. So for tonight, scattered showers, 57 degrees for your low. For tomorrow, back to that doomsday graphic. I know, it's so crazy. It likes to pop up on us again. So for tonight, as I said before, 57 degrees, scattered showers. For tomorrow, 66 degrees with a chance of showers, and then for the rest of the week this week, we're going to have showers and storms for Saturday and Sunday, but actually when we get to the weekend, you're going to notice that we actually can get some sunshine as we hit midweek for the rest of our week, back into the 70s. Well, so overall, it's going to be chilly, it's going to be wet, but overall, I think it's going to be an okay weekend, especially like these fall conditions. So, Jake, what do you think about this weekend? What do you think about the forecast?
The forecast isn't looking too great for the weekend, but I noticed at the end there, we started climbing back into the mid-70s with some sunshine. That's my kind of weather.
Except that starts off the work week. That's the worst part. It starts off the work week.
Sunshine and warmth, I don't care when it is, as long as it's here.
But I want to use it when I'm out and about. You know, Saturday and Sunday, I can go out, have a little fun, go to the beach if it was nice. But I can't use it when it's a Monday or a Tuesday or a Wednesday. Like, I have things to do. I have class. I have work. I mean, that's just...
I don't even think you're listening to yourself speak right now. You can't be complaining about the sunshine and warmth.
I just complain when I can't use it to the full extent. That's all I'm complaining about. But I am pretty impressed with those water spouts, though. We don't get that very often.
No. I know last year, start of the year, we had another setup just like this. And so I was able to go and observe a couple water spouts. But it's only really a couple of times every year that this occurs.
I think I was there with you when we did that too. Pretty cool water spouts. I saw a video yesterday of them, and they're just incredible. And some even made landfall.
Yeah, one made landfall yesterday is what I saw.
But once they make landfall, they usually die out pretty quickly. They're relatively weak tornadoes once they hit land. But yeah, it's just crazy to see how water spouts form. I mean, they're the coolest thing. I think they're cooler than tornadoes at some point because they're form over water, and tornadoes usually form over land with supercells. This is not even supercells. It's just regular old thunderstorms with funnels coming off and having water spouts. Like, it's just incredible to see. So, yeah. Well, that does it for us today. Don't forget to like us on Facebook, VUTV Weather. Also check out VUTV for its Twitter page. We also have a Twitter account, so make sure to look for it. Our weather quote of the week for this week is, "Gray skies are gonna clear up, put on a happy face." That's from Bye Bye Birdie. I'm Adam Sherwinski.
And I'm Jake Van Horn. Be sure to catch us here next time on VUTV Channel 15. Have a great rest of the week, Valpo.